time aboard. This is the Miles to Go podcast. And now here's your host, Ed Pizza.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Miles to Go podcast. 301 episodes, Mr. Kerr. We are 301 down, 99 to go to episode 400. We're going to be talking about episode 400 in just a second. But how are you doing, man?
Pretty good. Do you know how many months old you are? Like, when
oh, God, that's a big number. That's a really big number.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking about that. But you ever see the Instagram posts where parents are like, just, hanging out with my 42-month-old this morning? You're like, wait, what?
Yeah, I definitely think we go a little too far. Once you're past 18 months, you're 2 years old. We stop doing months, period.
Pretty good, man. I've been everywhere, man. We should play that theme song today. I've been everywhere.
Lord. Don't give Jeremiah excuses.
I've been a road warrior, towing the RV down to Orlando and back. That was always fun. And then, man, I was really getting my calendar together for October and November, and holy moly, it is rancid. It is. That's today's vocabulary word, ladies and gentlemen. Rancid, R-A-N-C-I-D. Is that how you spell it? I don't know. I just made it up.
I'm so glad you spelled it right. So here, I'm going to vamp for a little bit while you pull up your Flighty app, because vamp, it means to talk, to make small talk. It actually
we already did the vocabulary. Don't be using big words, man.
Vamp is only 4 letters. Come on. So yeah, pull up your Flighty app while I'm doing show intro, because I want to compare notes, because I just put some stuff out on Instagram. But for folks who are just tuning in, you can find him on all of those social media platforms except for Threads, because if you remember, he live deleted it on the show a few weeks ago. He is at Kerr Points. I am at Pizza in Motion. Email us is ed@pizzainmotion.com. And you can text us or leave us a voicemail at 571-293-6659. And as we sit here in October, Mr. Kerr, I wonder, how many miles have you flown so far this year?
That's a good question. Let me pull up my Flighty passports.
No, that's what I was vamping for. You were supposed to have already pulled it up.
I have flown 62,886 miles.
So at the halfway point of the year, you were just ahead of me. And it appears that I am now in the lead.
Oh, yeah.
I have 82 flights, 37 airports, 11 airlines, and 102,298 miles flown.
Yeah. You got Faroe Islands and Europe and Hawaii and all that stuff. Yeah, you're.
And I still have London, Malaga, Lisbon, which is all one trip, and then if the stars align, Auckland, along with the regular Vegas trip. So this could be like a 120 year for me.
Oops. I'm just really glad
it's ugly, man. It's
Atlanta
ugly.
and New York City aren't any farther apart, or else I'd be at 122.
Well, that's the thing. Like this goes back to this whole road warrior thing of like, I need to go back through and run the math, but I mean, I'm probably at least 50 or 60,000 of those miles just between here and Vegas.
No, thank you.
Yeah, so
and you're in the back of the bus as a global services. That's not.
Well,
good.
this was cool. So I had 2 flights, and then I want to hear more about your travel because mine was much less exciting. So I flight out to Vegas and back, both on the nonstop this week. On the way out, I was on one of the 764s that has Premium Plus, the international premium product, where you can book it as an Economy Plus seat. So I was booked in one of those seats. Got the Battlefield upgrade as they were closing the door. The guy in 1 kilo didn't show up. So got the last minute upgrade, but up until then I was global services non grata. And on the way back, I was actually, my business partner, his wife were in first on the exact same flight back from Vegas. Both tickets over $1,000 one way for a United first class 4-hour flight. No, thank you. I was $650 in coach.
Yeah.
I mean, just an absurd fare. And I was, up until 20 hours before the flight, I was in row 26, and I think it was in B as in Bravo. That would be the middle. And I finally ended up in a non-economy plus aisle seat 28 Charlie. So that was my $652 coach, no extra legroom seat this week.
Dude, I just saw some nuts pricing. So we'll go. My travel coming up is going to be a little bit nuts. Over 1 week in November, I will fly to Orlando, run a 5K. Then I'll drive to Sarasota for a wedding. Then I'll fly to New York City for 1 night for the TPG Awards. Then I'll fly to Nashville for 2 nights for CardCon. Then I'll either drive or fly from Nashville to Asheville for another conference. So that is Georgia, Florida, New York, Tennessee, North Carolina, Georgia in 7 days. So I was looking at all kinds of flights and routing options, and sent you a funny screenshot yesterday where I had booked 5 consecutive flights for the week on 5 different airlines, all of which I have status on.
That's pretty cool.
But that just worked out. I did not mean to do that. Not until I plugged it into the Flighty app. I was like, wow, I've got 5 consecutive flights.
You're like, look at all the colors.
Yeah. Starts off with Spirit and it goes I get my first A220 flight finally. Delta flies it from Sarasota to LaGuardia nonstop. So I finally get to fly on the A220.
And
Got a
you get
little
a
con-
dot I don't have. I've never flown out of Sarasota.
Yeah, me either. We'll get that one. And then, dude, I was looking at pricing though. Speaking of your $650 coach ticket, all right, from New York to Nashville, a lot of nonstop options on a Tuesday in November. United on the like noon flight, which is probably pretty nice timing. $1,639 from Newark to Nashville in economy, full fare economy, all that's left.
And probably an RJ too, right?
I didn't make it that far because I just saw American Airlines, LaGuardia to Nashville nonstop on my good old buddy, the E175. How much do you think American was charging versus the $1,600 that United was charging?
I'm betting it was still expensive, so I'm gonna go 480.
Dude, this makes no sense. $75.
Huh?
$75. You can pull it up on Google Flights right now. It don't make no sense.
Wait,
I was
and this was LaGuardia at a LaGuardia?
Yeah, LaGuardia to Nashville. I don't want to tell everybody the dates because I'll text you there. Somebody's gonna get in there and find my PNR and cancel it or ruin my chance of getting back in the holy grail of 4A on the E175. Man, I hope I get on that seat for that flight. I just want to be back home. But dude, $75. I was like, well, that's why I had. That's how all these weird things ended up happening. Where I'm flying Spirit down to Orlando for the 5K, renting a car and driving to Sarasota. Got to fly the A220 for the first time, and I get Comfort Plus and Delta. And then American wants $75, executive platinum there, so hopefully I'll get in 4A. And then so it's just this way weird things lined up, man. But yeah, it's gonna be a very nuts fall.
Was the Nashville flight on United? Was that out of Newark?
Yeah.
All right. We're checking because I know what your date is. I have your screenshots.
That was like, what is going on here? But I guess we're
Right.
flying American for that. And then you can either drive 5 hours from Nashville to Asheville, or I can connect in Charlotte on American. So then I was like, I really don't want to drive 5 hours, but whatever. I just got done driving 9 hours home, pulling the RV a couple days ago. So
Did it have all of its tires intact?
yes, it did. Unlike Summers.
Oh my god, that footage was. I'll have to see if I can put a screenshot. I can't put screenshot show notes. I'll mount it on my website
You can
and
put it in
and
the Slack
include a link
community,
to
which, ladies and gentlemen, you can join if you want to give a little bit of change to Uncle Ed and Richard.
Oh, look at that! Look at you segueing. Yes, we will put it in the Slack community for you folks to see. But man, the tire on Summers' RV that she rented was, it was toast. I mean, it was
Exploded.
beyond toast.
We'll get into that trip a little bit, I guess, so I can tell that story. But yeah, towed the RV down to Orlando from my home in Georgia. It's 480 miles door to door, which if you're going 80 miles an hour, it's not very bad. But if you're going 65 towing an RV, it takes a little bit. And then you got to stop for gas, and then the kids got to go potty and all that stuff. So been a long drive, split it up on the way down there, used some IHG points to stop in Lake City, Florida at the Holiday Inn. Man, it was 17,000 points for the night. I am Diamond with IHG, so they gave us the Holiday Inn's finest suite, and we got free breakfast, which was perfect for just literally stopping on the road because we couldn't leave until after work.
Right.
I got down to Fort Wilderness. I really think Fort Wilderness is my favorite way to do Disney World, man. Not in July, but like we did 3 years ago because all my Facebook memories popped up in October.
Yep.
It's just super cool, man. We booked this about a year out. Everything is decked out to the nines in Halloween gear. Everybody decorates their site. We brought Halloween decorations down. All the golf carts are ridiculously decorated. They got Halloween activities. And then the campground itself, man, is just a great setup, right? Because you can take the boat to the Magic Kingdom, or you can take the bus everywhere else. A billion things for the family to do. Water slide, pools, games. I mean, just like all kinds of stuff. So we get down there, and I was sitting there, Emily and the kids, I don't even remember. I think they were just on a bike ride. But a guy pulling a really large Cougar fifth wheel RV that Ed used to have. Shout out to Ed. Rest in peace. And the guy stops in the dually that's carrying it. He comes out and he's like, "Hey, are you Richard?" And I was like, I have no context. I was like, "Who's asking?"
Sure.
They found me. They finally got me. I was like, "Yeah, what's up, man?" He was like, "Oh, Summer told me that you'd be here." He was like, "Look, I just lost a tire here at the campground. Do you think I need to fix it now, or are they going to be okay?" And I was like, "Just park the thing, man. It'll be fine." But I was curious, so I walked around the front of his truck. Noticed that the tires on his truck were about 50,000 miles past being needed to be replaced. This dude had racetrack slicks on a dually. There wasn't even a semblance of tread left, and turned over. And one of the tires on the RV was not flat. It had exploded. And I was like, "When did you do this?" He was like, "Oh, I caught a corner here in the campground." I was like, "No, you didn't."
No.
That's not catching a corner, man. That thing exploded on you.
Yeah. That blew on the highway and you just kept going, which great. I mean, good to know that you
I
can
have no
drive.
idea how he did that. He parks this thing, he hooks it up. I start hearing rushing water. He leaves. I go over there.
Uh-oh.
The everything on this RV is broken.
Of
It's
course.
just
You know
it's
why? Because it's an RV.
it's a rental, and they don't take care of it. So I was like, "Man, I gotta see this tire because that thing." I took a picture of it and sent it to Ed. The tire had exploded from the sidewalls, and there was
Mhm.
literally nothing I mean, a little bit left of it. But then I looked at the other tire that was still on there. Dude, you could see the cord, the
Pictures you
fabric
sent me were
the
all
fabric
reasons
cords
I got
coming
rid of my
out of what
RV.
used to be a tire, and I was like, "Holy crap, what company is running this rental thing that, like" dude, the auto leveler was broken and beeped every 15 seconds the first night, and Summer didn't tell me so I could go turn it off for them, so they just slept through the beeping. The water connection was just leaking water everywhere.
Oh,
He set up
man.
the the sewer pipe in a figure eight, so even if you did drain the gray tank from the shower filling up, like, the water never went down to the sewer. It was a comedy of errors, and I was like, "Ah, it's good to be camping." But it
Oh,
was great, man. We had a great time. We really chilled out, went to Typhoon Lagoon. I got in for free because we used the inclement weather pass from the last time we went there, so didn't have to buy
right.
tickets to that. My
Hot diggity
kids are
dog.
now annual pass holders. I
Yeah, that
did
had
it.
to hurt. That had to hurt you.
I did it, and I what would have hurt is if I did not know that they were gonna do the no notice price increases this week. So I'm glad I bought it before the prices went up. That would have been very irritating if I had not done that. But a great time, man. Only one full park day, but the kids and I kinda hopped into Epcot one night. We hopped into Magic Kingdom. We got there. Campgrounds was great. And what is the icing on the cake, ladies and gentlemen? You be asking, saying, "Hey, this sounds like an amazing time." There doesn't need to be an icing on the cake. Ed, the icing on the cake is Mrs. Kerr said, "Wow, that was fun. This is my favorite way to do Disney." And I
You
was
know,
like,
I gotta be honest. I was reading. I was following along with her on social media. I actually watched more of her stuff than your stuff because I got this like indication early on before she actually said it that she was having a good time at Disney, and I'm like, wait a second, I need to keep watching.
round of
I'm
applause.
like riveted.
Have we won Mrs. Kerr over? I don't know. I don't, but she had a good time. And now I dare I say, does Mrs. Kerr feel a little bit left out that she does not have an annual pass? She won't admit it, but I'm kind of seeing the signs, man. So I don't know.
Ooh,
I'm not going to buy her an annual
ooh.
pass. She doesn't care that much. But I think we are going to go. We're going to go down. I'm going in a few weeks to run the 5K at Epcot, which is my first time ever running a Disney race. So that'll be great. And then
And I might be there with you. I won't be running because
you're not going
I
to.
don't do.
We'll believe when we see her.
I haven't booked the airline tickets or hotels, but other than that, I'm
Other
coming.
than that, I'll be there. Yes, I'm sure. Great.
I
And
don't get this. If I book flights and hotels, you tell me I'm not coming. If I don't book flights and hotels, you tell me I'm not coming. I really can't win here.
what you can come, then you win. You can just be there, then you'll win. And then they just announced Moonlight Magic for direct DVC owners, and
I
the
know this is a bummer for me because it's a
Animal Kingdom
Wednesday.
December 13th. As Ed pointed out immediately, this is a Wednesday, and Ed has like grown adult things to do, whereas I
I
guess
I could totally do it, but I can't. My wife is now giving me when not we're even past side eye. Like she's like, he's a seventh grader. You know, you can't take him out of school. Like I can get away with like a Friday here and there, but for a Moonlight Magic, you're talking. I'm gonna
it's 2
guess. I guess.
nights. That's
Yeah. I mean, I guess in theory it's no. I wouldn't. I'd say like you pull them out of school a couple hours early, but I don't think there's like a 3 p.m. departure. That's the thing. I think there's only like a 5 p.m. departure, which means we wouldn't get down there in time. So yeah, it's missing 2 days of school for Moonlight Magic, which hey, Moonlight Magic's fun. I did it once. 2 days of school stuff.
I'm gonna pull the kids out of homeschool, and we're gonna
You
roll down
pull
there.
the kids out of homeschool. You better hope their teacher doesn't get pissed at you.
Well, she's gonna be thrilled that she doesn't have to teach for 2 days and that she has a quiet house by herself. So dude, I mean, it's just like this is why we did. So I mean, it's $38 round trip, everything included on Frontier. So we're gonna roll down on Frontier. They got annual passes. We can go in the parks early. Then the Moonlight Magic is you don't need another ticket for that. You just got to be a direct DVC owner. Now, this is all assuming that we get a spot. First of all, if you don't know what Moonlight Magic is, you got to be a Disney Vacation owner, at least 150 point spot direct from Disney, and then they open the parks up late just for DVC owners. They call it Moonlight Magic. They
Yep.
did not. I didn't think they were going to have any more this year. I don't think anybody really did. They just announced one for December 13th at Animal Kingdom, and everybody wants to go to these. So you got to do the whole Disney queue thing and hope you get a spot. So you get an early entry into the queue to hopefully get a spot if you have a Disney hotel. So man, I jumped on there and they had a Pop Century preferred room for 184 bucks or something like that. And I was like, all right.
Yeah, I bet that you'll be fine, and here's why I think so, because you got a week between when they do the preferred access for Moonlight Magic because you'll have an on-site room to when they open it up to everyone else. And quite frankly, if they thought they were going to sell out, they wouldn't have structured it that way.
Fair
So,
enough.
so I
That'd
think
be cool, man.
yeah,
Although
yeah.
I did look at like when they say Moonlight Magic, they legit mean it's like 10 p.m. to 1 a.m.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have
yeah,
the 7 and 9-year-old rolling
yeah.
deep
It's
in
gonna work
Animal
out great.
Kingdom at 1 a.m. I'm gonna get Thomas on Avatar for the first time.
I
Uh,
will say, like, there is a non-zero chance that I will come. I may pop down and just you
well,
know
it'd be fun, man. Roll with us, because then I don't think Mary's tall enough to go on Avatar, so then I couldn't take Thomas. But if you're there, you can watch.
I can
I need a
babysit
babysitter.
her.
I need a babysitter. Ed, come on down, man.
Nice.
I'll find a
I
nice
now
cast
see my
member.
role.
Actually, somebody we know will be there that will stand with Mary for 10
I'm
minutes.
sure.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
figure it out.
All right, so we got two credit card offers to talk about that I think are interesting, and we got a potential listener question, and then but I want to we talked a little bit about the Slack community, and I just want to have a little bit of fun with this for a second because I thought this was hilarious. I got behind on catching up on Slack community messages, but for folks who listened to 300, you heard me ask everybody on the show what they thought episode 400 would be about. And as we closed out happy hour this past week, I asked the people that so sorry on the Slack community we try to do weekly happy hours, but we do at least 2 or 3 a month where we hop on Zoom and catch up with each other for at least an hour. And so I asked folks this question as we closed the happy hour. The show hadn't released yet. I said, hey, what do you think episode 400 should be titled? And I love everybody's response. There were 4 great responses here. We had Matthew said episode 400. Ed still cannot get approved for the Air Canada card.
Yeah, that's facts right there. Good job,
Facts
man.
right there. Chris, episode 400. Ed is a member of Club 33. I definitely think that is in the realm of possibility.
I hope that's true because
Yeah.
I'll be riding those coattails into episode 500.
That's my way to keep Richard on the show forever and ever. Molly had episode 400. Ed will finally love Paris. I'm not sure that's going to happen. I love you, Molly. I do.
I don't like Paris.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm in like with Paris. That's what I like to say. And then Stephanie says, episode 400, Delta's credit card spend is only responsible for 0.5% of GDP in the U.S.
Oh, bad news, Gary. You got to change that stat, man.
Glad they had fun with that. I really am. So do you want to talk about Chase Freedom Unlimited's offer first, or do you want to talk about, suspiciously, smells like a rent day?
I think, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, so we should talk about what Bank of America is doing.
There's definitely some flattery here. We will link to an Award Wallet post that talks about Bank of America rewards on November 9th, 2023. You'll be able to earn 2 points or miles or 2% cash back on up to $2,500 in purchases. They're calling it their More Rewards Day. It's a one-day thing.
Huh.
And you can earn cashback cards, earn 2% cash back for every dollar spent. For points rewards and miles rewards cards, those are going to bump up as well. So this could actually be pretty lucrative, especially since it's capped at $2,500 in purchases. That's a decent amount. What do you think, Mr. Kerr?
Additional 2 points for everyone spent is great, or 2 miles if you got that Alaska card.
Mm-hmm.
I think what they've done here with Rent Day, what they did with More Rewards Day is pretty.
More Rewards Day, Mr. Kerr. It's called More Rewards Day.
Yeah,
Just
what a
sounds like Rent Day.
what a clever idea. I'm really glad that they've come up with this and are enacting this. So good job, Bank of America. Really like the thinking here. Really like the innovation here. Never seen anything like this before.
For me, it's like, as I mentioned on the show, I'm carrying 2 Bank of America cashback cards right now. So, it seems like, and I could have missed this in the details. It seems like this is spending collectively, although maybe it's per card. But either way, if I can get $50 extra cash back on November 9th for ringing up some purchases, I like the way they think about this. It is absolutely very similar to something that you and I talk about on a monthly basis, the built rent days. But I also think, in a time when interest rates are high and customers are thinking about cards that they should or shouldn't keep in their wallet, they should be thinking like this. You should be trying to find ways to surprise and delight your members. You don't want people to get bored with their card and decide they want to cancel it.
Yeah. My question is, so you have the platinum honors and it goes back up to, what is it like on certain categories over 5% cash? So does it mean this is 7% cash back on that day?
Oh, that's a good question. So I assume it's 7%, 7.2% cash back on that day because you'll earn extra 2%. I don't think they'll double my platinum multiple. Oh, what I think I'll get 3 credits that day. There'll be the 2% cash, the standard 2% cash back, then the platinum reward. Sorry, then the more rewards day rewards, and then separately the platinum rewards. And the platinum rewards will only be based on the base earning. That's my guess. If they stack, that'd be epically good.
Yeah. No, I mean, if you have like some taxes to pay or something and you want some extra Alaska miles, like this would be a great way to do it. So fully take advantage.
Yeah, for sure. It's one of those things where I'll be honest. I mean, and of course I'm biased. I love your credit card, Mister Kerr. But
It's
I
mine.
just
Just a big, it is
all
personally
yours,
mine. All mine.
all yours.
Yeah.
I'm just surprised that more companies don't do stuff like this.
Dude,
Yeah,
it's hard, man. Like from a compliance and regulatory and back end setup, like it's not just easy. Like if you guys knew everything that went into what is required
Well,
to make
yours are very difficult. I think yours are
yeah.
very difficult.
But
Here,
and I'm
these.
talking about even this for Bank of America, right? You
You
gotta,
think this is difficult to
dude.
put
I
together?
bet
Just
they are
saying, can we just
working
go
on
double?
tech. I bet they are working on technology that runs their loyalty engine from like 1999. Like there's black screens with green letters somewhere running this stuff. And to do something to move an entire bank's infrastructure the size of Bank of America to change rewards for one day, I bet it took 3 to 4 years that they've been working on this to make it happen. Like I just can see the bureaucracy of what is required to make all of this work correctly at the scale it's got to work at. And then you've got the regulatory people, and then you got the lawyers. And I mean, like, it is hard to do this thing. And that's why I'm so impressed that Bank of America, as big as it is making something like this happen for a single day, because I just know how much work is required for this thing and
Mm.
how many customer service inbounds they're going to get asking 800. Like, if we come up with the simplest thing in the world, there will be 7,000 people that make it complicated because I don't know why. They just
Oh
really
yeah,
do.
yeah,
So I mean,
yeah,
props to them because I just know all the work that goes into something like this happening. And I think that's why a lot of people don't do it because it's just hard.
yeah. No, I mean, well, and I think like when you think about Bank of America and this deal, I think to your point, I mean, it probably is more difficult than I think because at a high level, I would think doubling everything wouldn't be hard to run a script against everything, even if they were manual posts. But something that you and I have talked about, and we've talked about it, with members of the Slack community, that's difficult for you guys is when somebody buys something on the first day of the month, but the transaction doesn't actually post to the second or the third or whatever. You guys have actually have what I think is a fairly liberal policy of if somebody reaches out and can prove they purchased it on the first, you'll change it. Could you imagine Bank of America doing that?
That's the other thing, right? So the other thing they got to think about here is somebody buys something on November 9th, they get the extra 2 points and then they return it. Do they have the logic set up to pull back all 3 points? The hard part about that is depending on the merchant network, they don't always match the return with the original transactions perfectly.
Right.
So, and then if the return amounts are different than the original transaction, so you buy something for $80 at Kroger, you return vegetables that went bad for $5. Is that original transaction of 80 still tied to the return of 5? The merchants can't all do that. And then you don't know whether to claw back,
Right.
in this case, 15 Alaska miles or no Alaska miles, or you pulling back all of the whole 8. Like, so that's like, this is one little subsection of why this stuff is so hard that you don't think about until you really get down to the nitty gritty of how these things work. If everybody's like, oh, double points, it's easy, just hit a button. Like, God, I wish. It is just not that easy. And so I mean, because the risk here is that you got gamers that are like, hey, Bank of America didn't do their logic correct. I'm going to go buy $2,500 worth of stuff. I'm going to return it all. Only the base points are going to be clawed back, and I'm going to keep these free miles. That's what people do all the time. So it's just like,
Right.
there's
Which
bad
is why
actors
you
out
see
there
caps like this. Which is why you see caps like this and things. So that
Yeah.
like they know they're going to get screwed. They just don't want to get screwed too bad.
It's just amazing how many bad actors ruin it for the masses. So that's like just literally an insight to how hard this stuff is and everything you got to think about.
Yeah. All right. So how do you feel about unlimited? Like unlimited.
Like for an
Unlimited.
entire year?
Unlimited. So
I'd-
Chase Freedom Unlimited is going to do unlimited cashback, but I would imagine that you could still turn these into Ultimate Rewards points.
Yeah.
With a
How
premium card.
do you afford this, right? So
It's
if
a
you get
great
a new
question.
Chase-
Well, let me frame up the offer just so people, and then you can talk through it. So the current sign up bonus, by the way, for Freedom Unlimited is that you get a $200 bonus for sign up bonus once you spend $500 on the card, and then you'll earn 5% cash back on gas station and grocery stores for up to $12,000 in the first year. The new offer is that they will match all of your cash back, so they're essentially doubling. So you get 10% cash back or Ultimate Rewards points if you're purchasing through their travel portal, 6% on dining, and that includes DoorDash, Uber Eats, those fucks, 6% on drugstore purchases, and then 3% on everything else.
Dude, how do they afford this? 3x Ultimate Rewards on everything uncapped, 6x on dining and drugstores where people are going to go bonkers on that gift card rack. Like, it's going to cost hundreds of millions of dollars. And there's going to be people that, just like the old, I still don't have an idea how Discover does the cashback match on the first year that's uncapped. Because, well, you and I know people that took them for like hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? I mean, and this is lucrative transfer points, right? Let's just say that they're paying, this is all made up, by the way. Let's just say that they're paying Hyatt 200 basis points to transfer an Ultimate Reward to Hyatt.
Sure.
You are at a minimum 3x, right? That is like 600 basis points on every single transaction for a year for people flushing to Hyatt. Interchange on that, best case scenario, is probably 250 basis points or 2.5 cents, right? If you don't know what a basis point is, 2.5 cents. And they're paying Hyatt 6 cents for every dollar spent. That's a deficit of 3.5 cents on every dollar spent. And like 3.5 cents that you lose times how many thousands of customers times how many billions of and that's not even the 6x, man. That's a 1,200 basis points per dollar spent at dining and restaurants is going to cost. Like, holy moly, this is a black hole of cost that on a no annual fee card I do not understand, right? And that's not going to be everybody. People take the cash back, but
Sure.
even then you're still losing your butt. Like, I don't get it at all.
Yeah,
man.
even on the cash back, it'd be rough. And keep in mind, I did forget to mention this at the top of the description of the offer. Chase Freedom Unlimited is a $0 annual fee card, so
Yeah, there's no
they're
money
not
to make up.
they're not collecting anything in the first year to offset. So that's the thing here. I will say Freedom Unlimited has been a card that's been on my radar for a while. Actually goes back to an episode where we had Summer and Julian on the show with you and I, where Summer said in a very nice way that I was dumb. She said something like, "Oh, bless your heart," or something like that. And
True Southern way to say you're an idiot. Oh, bless
exactly
you.
right. Yeah, she did it very well. But we talked about me potentially adding Freedom Unlimited to the mix. I mean, the Bank of America cards are very friendly for me for my spending because of the 5% cash back on the customized cash. But I mean, even with that, I haven't tried booking stuff through the Chase Ultimate Rewards portal. But I mean, 10% is, I mean, like, this is essentially Cap One travel. It's wow. Like, to your point, I think there's two separate things to consider here, and they're both to the same fundamental point. I'm not sure how they're paying for this. And for anybody out there who isn't in miles and points yet, this is an incredible offer to take advantage of. Because here's the thing. If you have no idea how to use miles or points, sign up for this card. I'd encourage you to sign up for a premium Chase card as well, so you have the option to turn these into Ultimate Rewards later. Grab yourself a Chase Sapphire Preferred, start spending on this card, and then ask us to help you use your points. Because I mean, there's just being able to get this sort of return for your spending, wow. I mean, I wouldn't pass this up.
I think Emily is below 524, and I'm going to do everything I can to get her this card. 3x. So the deal is, like, I'm good on MX points now. I'm not Ed good, but like, I've got several hundred thousand of MX points that I need to go back and build the Chase stash back up. And if I literally just have to hand Mrs. Kerr a new Freedom Unlimited card for a year and say, don't worry about switching cards, don't worry about because she hates it so much. I'm like, just put everything on this card for a year. Hallelujah, man. Like, that is like just so clutch. So I'm really going to try and get her whatever I can to get her approved for this card, because that would be awesome. But how Chase is paying for this, like, I don't know. We saw him lose how many hundreds of millions with his CSR, so they're not afraid to lose money on a card, I guess,
Right.
and just in the name of getting new customers into the bank.
Yeah, new customer acquisition. I mean, maybe they're thinking that these are the cards that people are going to spend on in a recession because it's a $0 annual fee, cashback card. I mean, if we think about that, and maybe I'm forgetting something, I can't think of anything else in their portfolio that fits into the Freedom category. So maybe this is their way of trying to sign up more middle class cardholders, because clearly, Sapphire Reserve is absolutely for upper middle to high earners. You could even argue that Chase Sapphire Preferred is, but as a $95 annual fee, it's still a card that could be affordable for the middle class. Clearly, $0 annual fee cards that focus on cashback are focused at your everyday earners, and it's not something they've spent much time focusing on.
They're apparently, unless there's some magic accounting I don't know about, apparently willing to lose a lot of money in the name of customer acquisition. But hey, As a consumer listening to this, you should go, man, I hope somebody in your household's under 524 so you can go pick this card up and spend the entire household on this. I mean, we had to pay our property taxes in 2 weeks, and I'm like, I got 2 weeks to get Emily approved for this card. So we can get 3x points on property tax. I'll take that.
Okay, so can I be honest with you for a second?
Ed, you can always be honest with Uncle
Can
Richard.
can I be vulnerable?
We
with
could be
you?
vulnerable, baby. Let's go. What do you got?
You're gonna laugh at me, and this is just further proof that I will do everything I can to embarrass both you and me at the same time. Here we sit. I was today years old before I really thought about this. As you well know, I am over 524 right now, or at least Chase thinks I'm over 524. Why wouldn't I just have my wife apply for the Aeroplay card?
Because then you could be her companion.
Right, sure. I mean, it's all about the spend. I mean, and to that point, like you just brought up, like I'm thinking I wasn't going to get Freedom Unlimited because I just applied for Bank of America Customized Cash, and I know that pushes me over 524 again. Even if I could convince them that the mattress that I bought is not part of my 524, I am clearly going to stop recording with you at some point in the very near future, and I am going to go find this application and I'm going to apply for my wife because that is clearly the path we should be taking. And I can't believe I've gotten this far in life without thinking about 524 as a 2-player game.
Oh, yeah, you should definitely think of a 2-player game.
Don't you want to call me dumb?
There's a lot of words on. But darn it, you're just so good looking that I can't do it to you. Yeah, because you can do family pooling in Aeroplan, or there's actually some new limitations on that. I don't remember.
There's some fraud. Yeah, right. Yeah, they are. I'm sure they are. I don't know for certain. I haven't asked them, but I'm imagining they're getting their butts kicked.
So if Michelle gets the card and you do all the spin, then you can, even if you can't pool it, you can redeem Aeroplan points for anybody. And then the whole idea with the companion pass is great. Your shoe's gonna be flying with you anyway. So there really is no downside to her applying for this card.
Yeah.
Is there?
Yeah.
You really are that big of an idiot, aren't you?
I really thank you. I knew what was coming. I appreciate you. I appreciate you take care of that for me.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well,
I would get the Freedom Unlimited personally because you could, with it being uncapped, man, and you put your business spin on 3x for a year. Whoo, son! Like let's go, man. Like what are you waiting for there? Like tear that up.
Yeah. Well, so before we wrap up the show this week, I just wanted to take a quick pause and show you you got a little more background. You see my Concorde?
I see a box with a picture of a Concorde.
You like that, right? Yeah.
I don't see it put together yet.
Of course, you know why? Because like most things in life, I'm running a little behind.
How long is that? How many pieces that Lego Concorde set you got behind you?
2,000 pieces.
All right. I'm not a Lego guy, so I don't know. I mean, that's super cool. I'll take one. But those are really hard to find, right? You had to, how'd you pick it up?
Yeah, well, we are Lego VIPs, and so I was able to get it on the VIP presale. But yeah, like you'll appreciate this. My son says to me he's been saving up for months for a special Star Wars set that I know nothing about. There are words and phrases and all that kind of stuff that they've never heard of before. But I had the Concorde, and we still have the Titanic. I bought the Titanic, and we haven't built it yet. The Titanic is this massive Lego set. So he walks the Concorde set in here because he knows it's mine. I want to display the whole thing. He's like, Dad, listen, it's going to be a long time before you actually build this. So why don't we just put it behind your desk so at least people can see it while you record the podcast? I'm like, that is genius.
What a smart kid. Yeah. Wow, everybody's proving how dumb you are today, man.
Oh, yeah. I get my teeth kicked in left or right. That wasn't today, but yes, this week I am plenty of people going. Well, yeah. Here's your last funny story. In the United app when you're waiting for an upgrade, and you can look at the screen, it tells you how full the cabin is, and it tells you how many seats are left, and then it tells you how many people haven't checked in, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and so I'm sure you've played this game before where you're looking at it going, all right, there's 20 seats, there's 30 seats or whatever, and there's a handful of people haven't checked in yet. I'm number one on the upgrade list, so you're saying there's a chance, right?
There's no chance.
But you've done this. You've looked at it. So I was first on the upgrade list yesterday for my flight home, and I'm looking at the app, and I'm like, all right, this is cool. There's still a couple people haven't checked in yet, and I'm checking every once in a while. I'm refreshing. We had afternoon flight, and I'm like, all right. Well, we're getting really close to departure, and there's still a few people. There were 2 people that hadn't checked in. I'm like, all right, this is cool. And then literally 2 hours before departure, my business partner texts me, hey, do you have the confirmation numbers for my wife and I? I'm like, you son of a
checked in.
Like, you have been trolling me all day long.
Yeah, I did that on purpose. That's hilarious. That's the worst. Delta is actually the worst about that. If
Oh, that
you
whole basic economy garbage, yeah.
with that, and if you check in
Honors.
24 hours out, it's like you're number 2 on the upgrade list, and then you wake up the
Yeah.
next morning, you're number 75,000 on the upgrade list because everybody else checked in. I'm like, just don't even like. What is the point of the upgrade list if I know it's complete bull honky? Like, oh
Yeah.
man, not that you're ever
Yeah.
going to get an upgrade on Delta, but there you go.
Well, yeah, you're not. I might
No,
have
I'm not
those,
going.
but you're not. Yeah, you're never gonna get one of those.
Yeah, it's funny. My only Delta flight is going to be from Sarasota to LaGuardia, not Atlanta.
Yeah, we'll be interested to see if the Sarasota to Sarasota to LaGuardia?
Yeah.
If that clears.
I think
By
first
the
class is already sold out. I don't even think there's any
Hmm.
seats left. But I'm
Wow.
excited to fly the A220. They got those nice new screens on there, and
Yeah.
got for plus. And
How many
I
rows
think
of first class did they put on the 220? Is it 4?
that's a good question. I don't know off the top of my head.
What do you mean you don't know off the top of your head?
Nah,
We're travel experts.
okay, you got me there. How many seats are there on the Delta A220 first class? There's 4 or 5. I don't know.
By the way, two little factoids while we were Googling before, while we were talking before, I Googled, and E175 for that Newark to Nashville flight that you were trying to book.
Yeah.
And completely sold out. Like,
That's
not
why.
not a seat for sale anymore at all.
Wow. And then on the other hand, you can just go to the other airport and fly for $75. Like,
More importantly, there's a 2:00 flight, literally 2 hours later. That's like $150. That makes no sense to me.
must be like a sports team or something. Like that's got to be on that flight. I don't know.
Flying on an E175 from Newark to Nashville,
Like a college sports team, not a pro sports team.
Division III. I mean,
Like
like,
a
what are we talking
volleyball-
about here,
like
man?
I don't know. Like the NYU volleyball team's got to be a game in Vanderbilt down in Nashville. Like I don't know.
Okay, and now we just lost all of the NYU volleyball fans.
No,
That's
son of a.
you're killing
with-
me, man.
Well, I would be happy to put that Concord together, seeing there's no more Braves baseball this year. Good job, guys. Round of applause for the Braves completely
Oh.
just forgetting to show up for the second year in a row in the playoffs. Now I got plenty of time to sit around at home and put a little Concord together.
But look at the bright side. At least you didn't have the payroll of the Dodgers. to be going home to.
Yeah, this is very true.
Yeah, and I live in a glass house as a Yankees fan, so I'm not gonna.
I really, really cannot stand Bryce Harper. All right, we've gone down the sports rabbit hole. We've lost the other points of Miles fans, but there's a person
have.
named Bryce Harper that plays baseball for the Phillies, and I really do not like that man.
He was an interesting fellow when he was here in DC. So
Yeah.
he was not well liked.
Oh, really? Well, I wonder why.
Well, by the time this episode drops, Mr. Kerr, do you know where I'll have been? Do you know?
Vegas.
No. Good guess. Very good guess. No, I'll have been to Club 33 in Disneyland.
Oh,
Sorry you're missing that. I'm sorry you're missing that.
Yeah, it's not. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be fun. But when you remember, man, we can go whenever we want. So I'm looking forward to that. Come on, episode 400. Let's go.
Well, and I will tell you, I mean, we won't mention her name, but she'll know who we're talking about. One of our Slack community members had their Club 33 interview, so we may have yet another chance.
I saw that little screenshot that they posted in there. I relish the day, right?
I'll have to tell you a little bit about the interview. She said it was pretty interesting. They were, in true Disney fashion, they were 100% non-committal about whether or not they were going to let them in.
Oh, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, my last story. We got to get out of here. It's really funny. So Fort Wilderness had a Halloween scavenger hunt where you went and got this clue sheet, and they had 8 locations that you had to go to in the campground to get clues. But in order to get to the 8 locations, you had to solve puzzles in this workbook.
Mm-hmm.
Thomas probably spent between Sunday and Monday 5 hours working on this.
Wow.
Thing. It was really hard. I'm like, whoever came up with this thing, like, hats off to you for how hard. Like, this isn't like, what's the name of the mouse at Disney World? Go here. It was like, fill out this word search and then unscramble the letters, and that gives you a location. And you get to location, and those letters are scrambled. Really involved thing. So he's super into this. He's not going to let it go. He goes and asks cast members for help. And like, this is his thing. I'm not going to help him. I'm not going to tell him the answers. He figured it out. What was the prize that Fort Wilderness gave Thomas for spending 5 hours on their ridiculously complicated scavenger hunt that probably made him ride his bike 6 miles around the campground?
Probably like a chintzy plastic cup with Chip and Dale on it.
A sticker.
Ah, nice.
And when Mary completed the scavenger hunt,
not even a pin, huh?
A sticker, a circle sticker that cost maybe 1.5 cents. And when Mary finished her scavenger hunt, which we had to help her on because it's just really too hard for her, what do you think her prize was?
They were out of stickers.
A limit of 1 per family.
I was close. Nice.
I like what?
Did you manage,
like,
Wait, but this is you. You got the second sticker.
Well, it was actually Mrs. Kerr that took her up there. I was busy packing the RV. But if it had been me, I would have absolutely been like, you know what? No, we're going to take a handful of those stickers. But I was like, did you let her say that after? And, of course, Mary, like poor little Mary is like, I don't get with limit of 1.5. That's probably the first time in the last 5 years that I've been like, okay, like you guys really screwed the pooch on this. Like that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. And like the sticker, come on. They really jacked that up. I was both laughing and crying for the kids.
They gotta look. I mean, they gotta make up for all that money they spent on Star Cruiser, man.
Limit of 1 per family, 1.5-cent stickers at the world's most expensive campground. Okay, Disney, good job there, guys.
Oh man. All right. Well, get on out of here. We've got our fun travels this week. We will have to figure out where we're gonna record from next week. But it sounds like we're gonna see each other soon. I'm not allowed to say anything, but we're gonna see each other soon.
We should see each other 3 times in the next 3 weeks. How many of those 3 over under will Ed make? I'm putting it 1.5 over and under.
I'm still trying to figure out what the third one is. TPG Awards. I didn't book anything for that yet. I should do that. You're right. So there are 3.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. What's the over under?
Over under 1.5.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'll set the over under 1.5. I think it's a really good over under.
Yeah.
What are you taking? You taking the over or the under?
It'll be under.
All right, Mr. Kerr's on
over
record.
under. The good bet that would be hard to put money on would be 0.5 as the over under. But I'm taking the under at 1.5.
Oh, I'm a favorite to make one. I am such a favorite to make one.
All right,
I don't know which one, but I'm a favorite to make one.
Yeah, okay.
Well, with all that said, for the undisclosed location that Mr. Kerr and I are meeting at for the 5K that I'm not running and may not even be at the finish line to cheer you on, because that would be at like 5 o'clock in the morning, and for the third event that I couldn't even remember that I was supposed to have booked, it appears that we have lots of travel still to come until we upload again. We've got miles to go. So you're saying there's a chance, right?